Chapter 1, Discovering Your Inner Sweetness. Your sweetness is not weakness softly disguised, but strength gently expressed. In a world growing cold, those who choose to remain sweet become the hearth around which healing begins. Sweet wisdom from within. In the intricate fabric of our existence, the threads of reality are woven with diverse hues, unexpected patterns, and a myriad of textures. To truly experience the richness, depth, and beauty of this fabric, to feel its true essence against our skin, we must cultivate a profound and unwavering sense of openness. This openness is not merely a passive receptivity to external stimuli, but an active, courageous stance, a willingness to explore not just the world around us, but perhaps most vitally, the multifaceted and ever-shifting landscape of our own inner being. This profound openness is the fertile ground from which inner kindness blossoms, allowing us to extend genuine warmth, understanding, and compassion effortlessly outwards, enriching every interaction with the authentic sweetness that dwells within. The psychology of authentic sweetness. What does it mean to be truly sweet? When psychologists study human personality, they often examine what they call agreeableness, a trait that encompasses empathy, compassion, and the natural inclination toward pro-social behavior. These are the very qualities that make someone authentically sweet, but sweetness goes far deeper than personality assessments can measure. Authentic sweetness emerges from a profound understanding of our shared humanity, a recognition that beneath our various defenses and protective layers, we all carry the same fundamental needs for love, understanding, and connection. When you respond to someone with genuine warmth, you're not just being nice. You're acknowledging the sacred thread that connects all human experience. This recognition flows from the same wellspring of openness that allows you to see the multifaceted nature of reality itself. The neuroscience behind authentic sweetness reveals something remarkable. When we express genuine warmth and care, we activate what researchers call the care circuit in our brains. This complex network involves the vagus nerve, which connects our heart to our brain and triggers the release of oxytocin, often called the love hormone. This neurochemical cascade doesn't just make us feel good, it literally rewires our brains for greater empathy, emotional regulation, and resilience. The beautiful paradox is that by opening our hearts to others, we actually strengthen our own capacity for emotional well-being. But here's what makes authentic sweetness different from people-pleasing or codependency. It comes from a place of strength, not weakness. People-pleasers often give because they fear rejection or conflict, operating from a scarcity mindset that views love as something that must be earned through constant accommodation. Codependent individuals may care for others as a way of avoiding their own emotional needs, using service as a shield against their own vulnerability. Authentic sweetness, however, flows from a well of self-respect and genuine care that includes both yourself and others. This distinction is crucial because it reveals how authentic sweetness requires what we might call sweet courage, the emotional bravery to remain open-hearted while maintaining healthy boundaries, to care deeply while honoring your own needs, to extend compassion while holding others accountable for their actions. This kind of sweetness is not naive or defenseless. It's informed by wisdom and guided by discernment. Research shows that individuals with genuinely sweet personalities possess distinct advantages that extend far beyond social niceness. They build stronger, more resilient social networks because their warmth creates psychological safety for others to be authentic. They experience lower levels of chronic stress because their positive interactions create what researchers call upward spirals of well-being. Their relationships tend to be more satisfying and enduring because their genuine care fosters mutual trust and emotional intimacy. Why the world needs your sweetness. We live in what many researchers describe as an epidemic of disconnection, a time when despite unprecedented technological connectivity, rates of loneliness, anxiety, and depression continue to climb at alarming rates. People report feeling increasingly isolated, misunderstood, and emotionally starved for genuine human warmth. Into this landscape, your sweetness enters not as a luxury, but as a profound necessity, a healing balm for a world that has forgotten how to truly see and care for one another. Our culture has developed a curious and troubling bias against emotional availability and tenderness. We're taught to value toughness over gentleness, independence over interdependence, and competition over collaboration. This cultural programming creates what psychologist Dr. Barbara Fredrickson calls positivity deficits, where people become so focused on protecting themselves from potential harm that they miss countless opportunities for nourishing connection and mutual support. This bias manifests in subtle but pervasive ways. In professional settings, emotional intelligence might be acknowledged as important, but emotional expression is often viewed with suspicion. In personal relationships, vulnerability is both craved and feared, creating painful paradoxes where people long for intimacy while simultaneously defending against it. In our broader social discourse, empathy and compassion are sometimes dismissed as weakness or naive idealism. Your willingness to remain emotionally available creates what Dr. Fredrickson terms micro moments of love, brief but powerful exchanges of positive emotion that have measurable effects on both your physiology and that of the person receiving your warmth. During these moments, heart rate variability improves, stress hormones decrease, and immune function strengthens. These benefits extend to both the giver and receiver, creating what scientists call emotional contagion in its most healing form. But the impact extends far beyond individual interactions. Sweet personalities naturally become bridge builders in our increasingly polarized times. When you approach differences with curiosity rather than judgment, when you seek to understand before seeking to be understood, you create space for dialogue and connection across divides that seem impossibly wide. Your sweetness doesn't mean you lack strong convictions. It means you can hold those convictions while still honoring the humanity in those who see things differently. There is also a profound attachment dimension to consider. People with secure attachment styles, who experience consistent warmth and responsiveness in their early relationships, tend to naturally express authentic sweetness as adults. But even if your early experiences were less than ideal, your conscious choice to cultivate sweetness can actually help heal attachment wounds, both in yourself and in the relationships you create. Your sweetness becomes a form of reparative emotional experience, offering others what they may have missed in their formative years. Breaking free from cultural programming society, with its myriad expectations and often unspoken rules, frequently whispers in our ears, subtly urging us, sometimes even overtly demanding, that we fit ourselves into a predefined mold. We are told there is one singular path to success, often marked by specific, externally validated milestones and achievements. This constant, pervasive pressure to conform can feel like an invisible cage, boxing us in, stifling our imagination, and severely limiting our boundless potential. It's akin to walking through life with self-imposed blinders, seeing only a narrow, well-trodden path ahead while remaining utterly oblivious to the vast, open, and infinitely diverse landscape of possibilities that stretches out limitlessly around us. From childhood, many of us receive messages that subtly discourage our natural sweetness. Well-meaning parents worried about their children being hurt or taken advantage of might say things like, "Don't be so sensitive," or "You need to toughen up." Teachers facing overcrowded classrooms might mistake gentleness for weakness or lack of assertiveness. Society sends the persistent message that emotional availability is somehow less valuable than emotional armor, that caring deeply makes you vulnerable to exploitation. This one-track mindset, this rigid adherence to a prescribed narrative of emotional invulnerability, can be profoundly detrimental to our overall well-being. It can lead to persistent feelings of inadequacy, a gnawing sense of not enough, if we don't meet those predetermined, often arbitrary standards of toughness. It can tragically stifle our innate creativity and emotional intelligence, preventing us from exploring the innovative approaches to human connection that only our individual perspective can offer. And in its most poignant consequence, it can ultimately lead to a life that feels unfulfilling, a life lived in the shadow of regret as we find ourselves living someone else's dream of who we should be, instead of consciously crafting and living our own deeply resonant truth. These messages often carry different weight depending on your gender, creating what researchers call double binds that make authentic expression particularly challenging. Sweetness in girls might be encouraged during childhood, but then later dismissed as naivety when they become women in professional settings, where they're told to lean in and adopt more aggressive communication styles. Sweetness in boys might be actively discouraged from an early age, as they're taught that real strength means emotional invulnerability, that showing tenderness is somehow a betrayal of masculinity. But what if we dared to break free from this suffocating mold? What if we summoned the courage to challenge the deeply ingrained notion that there's only one right way to express strength, to achieve success, or to navigate the complexities of human relationships? Imagine for a moment the exhilarating sense of freedom that comes with recognizing that emotional courage is not a universal one-size-fits-all prescription, but a deeply personal, evolving expression of your authentic self. Here's the profound reframe that changes everything. Sweetness is emotional courage. It takes tremendous bravery to remain open-hearted in a world that can be harsh and unforgiving. It requires exceptional strength to respond with compassion when others respond with coldness or cruelty. Your sweetness isn't evidence of weakness. It's evidence of your capacity to choose love even when fear seems safer, to choose connection even when isolation feels more predictable. When you consciously choose to shed the heavy pressure to conform, to release the tight grip of external expectations about how you should express your strength, you fling open the doors to a universe of boundless possibilities. You gain the sovereign power to define emotional courage on your own terms, allowing it to be organically shaped by your intrinsic values, your deepest convictions about human dignity, and your unique, irreplaceable capacity for creating healing in the world. When we begin to recognize these cultural messages for what they are, programming rather than truth, we create space to reclaim our authentic nature. We start to see that the world doesn't need us to become harder. It needs us to become more skillfully sweet. This means learning to express our natural warmth in ways that honor both our own needs and the genuine needs of others, developing what we might call wise tenderness. Navigating contradictory truths about sweetness. Can two seemingly opposing truths truly coexist within the same reality, within the same heart? This profound question lies at the very heart of how we understand the world, and indeed how we understand ourselves. We are often taught from a young age to seek definitive answers, to categorize, to simplify, and to view reality through a single rigid lens. But life, in all its magnificent complexity, defies such simplistic categorization. As we grow, as we gather more experiences, we inevitably realize that the world is rarely, if ever, black and white. Instead, it is a vibrant, nuanced tapestry of diverse perspectives, each intricately shaped by unique experiences, cultural backgrounds, and personal journeys. One of the most liberating discoveries in embracing your authentic sweetness is learning that seemingly contradictory truths can coexist beautifully within you. You can be both tender and fierce, both gentle and strong, both open-hearted and boundaried. These qualities don't cancel each other out. They create a rich, multifaceted way of being in the world that honors the full spectrum of human experience. To truly grasp this profound truth, we must first acknowledge the inherent complexity of the human condition itself. We are all intricate products of our upbringing, our cultural heritage, and the myriad personal journeys we undertake. These diverse threads weave together to create our unique worldviews, our individual interpretations of what it means to be both strong and sweet. What might be an unshakable truth for one person about the nature of kindness could be a perplexing misconception for another. This inherent diversity can, at times, lead to conflicts and misunderstandings, creating friction where harmony is desired. Consider the parent who speaks softly to comfort a crying child while simultaneously standing firm against behavior that could be harmful. The teacher who offers deep compassion for a struggling student while maintaining clear expectations for respectful classroom behavior. The friend who listens with an open heart while refusing to enable self-destructive patterns. These individuals embody what we might call sweet toughness, the ability to hold both tenderness and strength simultaneously. This integration challenges the binary thinking that suggests you must choose between being kind or being strong, between caring for others or caring for yourself, between staying open or staying safe. In reality, the most emotionally mature individuals learn to navigate between these seeming opposites with grace and wisdom, recognizing that true strength often expresses itself through gentleness, and genuine care sometimes requires difficult conversations or firm boundaries. The paradox of sweet toughness versus tough sweetness reveals itself in how you approach life's challenges. Sweet toughness might mean holding firm boundaries while maintaining genuine care for the person whose behavior you're addressing, speaking truth with love, even when that truth is difficult to hear. Tough sweetness might mean making decisions that ultimately serve everyone's highest good, even when those decisions feel uncomfortable in the moment, choosing what is truly caring over what is merely pleasing. When we approach life with an open mind and a willingness to embrace complexity, we discover a profound truth. Seemingly contradictory viewpoints can not only coexist, but can also deepen our understanding of the world, fostering a beautiful symphony of perspectives. By genuinely appreciating diverse approaches to strength and kindness, we cultivate profound empathy and a shared sense of humanity that transcends superficial boundaries. We recognize that our individual expressions of sweetness, while unique and precious, are all part of a larger, interconnected understanding of what it means to be fully human. Your sweetness doesn't require you to be agreeable all the time or to avoid difficult emotions. You can express authentic warmth while also expressing authentic disagreement. You can care deeply about someone while also setting firm limits with them. You can offer compassion while also holding people accountable for their choices and their impact on others. You can be incredibly strong and profoundly vulnerable, remarkably capable, and yet continuously learning, fiercely independent and deeply interconnected, without experiencing debilitating internal conflict or dissonance. Learning to embrace your full emotional spectrum means recognizing that anger, sadness, frustration, and fear are natural parts of the human experience. These emotions don't contradict your sweetness, they inform it and give it depth. When you can feel your own anger without becoming destructive, you develop the capacity to be with others' anger without becoming defensive. When you can acknowledge your own fear without becoming paralyzed, you can offer courage to others who are afraid. The fluid nature of authentic expression. In our first journey together, a voyage of extraordinary growth, we bravely set sail on the vast, uncharted ocean of self-discovery, charting a course toward purpose, resilience, and unwavering self-belief. We equipped ourselves with essential navigational tools, learning to embrace a growth mindset and harnessing the power of engagement to transform challenges into opportunities for extraordinary personal development. Now, with Life is Sweeter Within, we invite you to dive even deeper. We are moving beyond the familiar shores and into the uncharted, luminous depths of our inner world. This is a sacred invitation to explore the hidden landscapes of your being, to gently peel back the layers of conditioning and expectation, and to uncover the boundless richness, the profound wisdom, and the inherent sweetness that lies within. It's a heartfelt call to embrace vulnerability as a source of strength, to open your mind to new, expansive perspectives, and to celebrate the beautiful, intricate complexity of the human experience in all its forms. Just as an orange tree expresses its essence differently throughout the seasons, sometimes budding with fragrant blossoms that promise future sweetness, sometimes heavy with ripening fruit ready to nourish, your authentic sweetness manifests differently depending on the circumstances, relationships, and seasons of your life. This fluidity is not inconsistency, it's wisdom in action, a sophisticated response to the ever-changing landscape of human experience. There are times when your sweetness expresses itself as gentle encouragement, offering hope to someone who has lost their way in the darkness of despair. Other times it emerges as fierce protection, standing up for someone who cannot advocate for themselves or speaking truth to power when injustice demands a response. Sometimes it appears as patient listening, creating sacred space for someone to process their pain without rushing to fix or change their experience. Other times it manifests as joyful celebration, helping others recognize and savor their victories and growth with uninhibited delight. This adaptability honors both the natural rhythms of your own emotional and energetic cycles and the genuine needs of each unique situation you encounter. There are seasons when your sweetness flows abundantly, when you feel naturally generous and warm toward everyone you encounter, when your cup overflows with compassion and understanding. There are other seasons when preserving your sweetness requires more conscious intention, when life's challenges have temporarily diminished your reserves of patience and emotional availability. Reinforcing the idea that self-discovery is a continuous, dynamic journey, this fluidity extends to your understanding of yourself, allowing for ceaseless evolution and growth. Cultivating an adaptable mind becomes the golden key to embracing change, not only in external circumstances, but also within your own emotional and psychological landscapes. This ongoing process leads to an ever-unfolding sense of inner kindness and a gentle, accepting demeanor, allowing you to flow with life rather than resist its natural rhythms. Rather than judging yourself for these natural variations, you can learn to work with them skillfully and compassionately. During abundant seasons, you might share your warmth more freely, knowing that you have plenty to give and that your generosity flows from a genuine overflow rather than obligation. During leaner seasons, you might focus on offering sweetness more selectively, ensuring that you maintain enough warmth for your own healing and restoration. This creates what we might call a virtuous cycle of authenticity. When you express your sweetness authentically rather than forcing it, others sense that genuineness and respond with greater appreciation and reciprocity. This positive response encourages you to continue being authentic, which deepens your capacity for genuine expression, which invites even more authentic connection with others. The cycle becomes self-reinforcing, creating an upward spiral of mutual trust and understanding. 5 steps to sweet flexibility. Are you ready to embark on a transformative journey that will unlock a more expansive, more fulfilling, and more authentically joyful life? The path of open-mindedness, while sometimes challenging as it asks us to step beyond our familiar comfort zones, promises to enrich your life in profound and utterly unexpected ways. By consciously cultivating openness to new experiences, diverse perspectives, and novel ways of being, you will discover a world brimming with boundless possibility, continuous growth, and deep self-discovery. Our aim is to embrace a mindset of profound openness, one that empowers you to navigate life's inherent complexities not with trepidation, but with an insatiable curiosity, a deep empathy, and a genuine appreciation for the richness of human diversity. This is not merely an intellectual exercise confined to the realm of thought. It is a holistic transformation that will touch, illuminate, and enrich every single aspect of your life, from your innermost thoughts to your most outward interactions. Step 1. Embrace diverse perspectives, inward and outward. To truly expand your mind and cultivate sweet flexibility, actively seek out viewpoints that challenge your existing assumptions and broaden your understanding of the world. This involves reading widely, exploring books, articles, and blogs from various authors and perspectives, and engaging in conversations with people from different backgrounds and experiences, truly listening to understand their viewpoints, not just to respond or defend your own position. But perhaps more crucially, this step encourages applying this profound openness inward. How can you view your own perceived flaws, past mistakes, or challenging emotions with the same curiosity and non-judgmental stance you strive to offer to new ideas or external viewpoints? This practice fosters deep inner forgiveness and a profound self-kindness, allowing you to hold a warm, accepting regard for all parts of yourself, recognizing that every experience, every emotion, every moment of struggle holds valuable lessons. When you catch yourself thinking harsh thoughts about your own sensitivity or kindness, pause and ask yourself, what would I say to a dear friend experiencing these same self-doubts? Often we extend far more compassion to others than we offer ourselves. This inward perspective taking creates what researchers call cognitive empathy toward yourself, allowing your natural sweetness to include genuine self-care and acceptance. Practice viewing your own emotional responses as information rather than judgment. When you feel overwhelmed by others' pain or frustrated by your own caring nature, instead of criticizing these responses, explore them with curiosity. What are these feelings telling you about your values, your boundaries, your needs for restoration and support? Step 2. Practice active listening, internal and external. When engaging with others, set aside your preconceptions and judgments. Truly seek to understand their viewpoints and experiences by being fully present, maintaining eye contact, asking clarifying questions, and reflecting to ensure understanding. This creates the psychological safety that allows authentic sweetness to flourish in relationships. Internally, this means truly listening to your inner voice without judgment, especially when it expresses discomfort, unmet needs, or subtle intuitive nudges. This internal attunement is foundational for authentic self-care and kind self-expression. It allows you to respond to your own needs with profound warmth and compassion, recognizing the wisdom in your own inner signals. Your sweet nature likely makes you naturally attuned to others' emotions. But this same sensitivity needs to be turned inward. Notice when your body feels tense, when your energy feels depleted, when your heart feels heavy. These are not weaknesses to overcome, but important communications from your inner wisdom that deserve the same respectful attention you give to a friend sharing their concerns. Practice internal active listening by creating regular moments of stillness where you can genuinely check in with yourself. Ask yourself questions like, what am I feeling right now? What do I need in this moment? What would truly nourish me today? Listen to the answers without immediately jumping to problem solving or self-criticism. Step 3. Embrace uncertainty with curiosity. Rigid thinking often stems from a deep-seated fear of the unknown, a craving for predictability and control. To truly embrace openness, you must learn to be comfortable, even curious, with uncertainty and ambiguity. This extends to the unknown aspects of yourself and your emotional responses. Instead of resisting uncomfortable feelings or internal shifts, approach them with a sense of wonder and openness, recognizing them as opportunities for deeper self-understanding and kind acceptance of your evolving self. This is particularly important for those with naturally sweet dispositions who may feel pressure to always know how to help, how to respond, how to fix situations or relationships. Embracing uncertainty means acknowledging that sometimes the most loving response is to admit you don't know what's needed, to sit with discomfort without rushing to resolve it, to trust that not every problem requires your immediate solution. When you encounter situations that don't have clear answers, practice responding with phrases like, I wonder what's really happening here, or what might this situation be teaching me? This curiosity stance prevents you from rushing to judgment or falling back on familiar but potentially inappropriate responses that might prioritize harmony over truth or pleasing over genuine care. By embracing uncertainty, you open yourself to a world of boundless possibilities, where exploration, curiosity, and continuous personal growth can flourish, unhindered by the need for absolute control or perfect understanding. This openness allows you to discover creative ways of expressing care that wouldn't be possible if you approached every situation with predetermined ideas about how it should unfold. Step 4. Challenge assumptions about yourself. Unconscious assumptions and deeply ingrained beliefs can act as powerful barriers to openness, silently dictating our perceptions and limiting our potential. Examine and courageously challenge these deeply ingrained patterns. Focus specifically on challenging assumptions and limiting beliefs held about yourself that restrict your potential or diminish your self-worth. Many sweet-natured individuals carry assumptions like, I'm too sensitive for this world. My kindness makes me weak. I can't say no without hurting people, or I have to help everyone who asks. These beliefs, while perhaps based on past experiences or cultural messages, can become rigid constraints that prevent growth and authentic expression. Regularly examine the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. When you notice yourself thinking, I always, or I never, or I can't, pause and ask yourself whether this assumption is actually true in all circumstances. Look for evidence that contradicts your limiting self-beliefs. This involves questioning the origins and validity of self-deprecating narratives, asking where these beliefs came from and if they still serve your highest good. For instance, if you believe I'm too sensitive, challenge this by asking, too sensitive for what? According to whom? What if my sensitivity is actually a sophisticated form of emotional intelligence? What if the world needs more sensitivity, not less? By challenging your assumptions, you create expansive space for new insights and liberating ways of being, allowing you to evolve and grow in unexpected, beautiful ways, fostering profound kindness towards your authentic self. Step 5, cultivate intellectual humility about your being. Recognize that your knowledge and perspectives are inherently limited and that there is always more to learn, to understand, to experience. This applies profoundly to your understanding of yourself as well. Recognize that your self-perception is ever evolving and beautifully incomplete. This encourages a profound openness to new insights about your personal capabilities, your innate inner wisdom, and your continuous capacity for growth, fostering a gentle, accepting, and perpetually curious self-perception. The deepest form of sweet flexibility comes from recognizing that you are far more complex and capable than any single definition or label could capture. Intellectual humility means holding your self-understanding lightly, remaining open to discovering new aspects of yourself throughout your life, approaching yourself with the same curiosity and openness you would bring to getting to know a fascinating new friend. This humility prevents the ego from hardening around particular identities like, I'm the giving one, or I'm always patient, or I never get angry. While these might be predominant patterns, intellectual humility recognizes that human beings are dynamic, growing, and constantly capable of surprise. You might discover that you have more strength than you realized, or more capacity for boundaries, or more wisdom about when to give and when to receive. Approach new ideas about yourself with genuine curiosity rather than defensiveness. Admit when you're wrong about your own capabilities with grace, and embrace lifelong learning about your own nature as a sacred journey. Notice when you're trying to force yourself into familiar patterns that no longer serve. Celebrate when you discover new capacities or ways of being that feel authentic and alive. Openness, the seed of resilience. Resilience is not merely the ability to bounce back from life's inevitable challenges, like a rubber ball rebounding from a wall. It is the profound capacity to grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate because of them. It's about adapting and thriving amidst change and uncertainty while maintaining your essential sweetness and openness to connection. At its core, an open mindset is the fertile soil where this deep resilience takes root and flourishes. When you're genuinely open to alternative viewpoints and diverse experiences, you expand your understanding of the world and, crucially, of yourself. Challenges, instead of being insurmountable walls that block your path, become exhilarating opportunities for demonstrating grace under pressure. Setbacks, rather than being crushing defeats that diminish your spirit, transform into illuminating detours on the road to profound growth and deeper wisdom. This mental flexibility empowers you to adapt with grace, to innovate with courage, and to cultivate a growth mindset that ceaselessly fuels your personal and professional development. When you approach difficulties with openness rather than defensiveness, you're able to extract valuable lessons from every experience, even the most painful ones. An open mindset also cultivates empathy and emotional intelligence, essential components of resilience that are particularly important for those with naturally sweet dispositions. By actively seeking to understand diverse perspectives, you develop deeper connections and compassion for others. Recognizing that everyone faces internal struggles and external challenges as part of the shared, universal human experience. This recognition extends to yourself as well, fostering the self-empathy that allows you to treat your own struggles with the same compassion you naturally offer others. This empathy and connection strengthens your support network, providing a safety net during tough times and a source of collective wisdom when you're navigating difficult decisions. People are naturally drawn to those who can hold space for complexity and contradiction, who can offer understanding without judgment. Beyond personal growth, the benefits of openness extend to creativity and problem-solving abilities. When you're receptive to new ideas and perspectives, you unlock a wellspring of innovation in how you express care, how you solve problems, and how you create positive change. You become more adept at thinking outside conventional patterns, challenging wisdom that may no longer serve, and finding novel solutions that honor both practical needs and human dignity. Uncertainty, the unexpected gift. Uncertainty, in its very essence, is a constant companion on life's intricate journey. It is a captivating yet often unsettling force that perpetually challenges our innate human desire for control, for predictability, for a neatly plotted map. We are conditioned from our earliest moments to crave certainty, to fear the unknown, and to cling desperately to stability, even when that stability is a mere illusion. But what if we dared to reframe uncertainty, seeing it not as a looming threat, but as a profound, unexpected gift? What if it is, in fact, a shimmering portal to boundless personal growth, deep self-discovery, and an even richer, more profound appreciation for life's inherent sweetness? When we allow ourselves to be truly present with uncertainty, to sit with it, to breathe with it, we fling open the doors to a world of boundless possibility. We become exquisitely attuned to the intricate, delicate dance of life, where every single moment holds the promise of unexpected insights, serendipitous encounters, and truly transformative experiences. In this state of profound openness, we cultivate an insatiable wonder and a playful curiosity, seeing the unknown not as a daunting source of fear, but as an exhilarating playground for exploration, a canvas for new adventures. For those with naturally sweet dispositions, uncertainty can feel particularly challenging because it prevents you from knowing exactly how to help, how to respond, or how to create the harmony you naturally seek. You might feel responsible for managing outcomes or ensuring everyone's comfort, making uncertainty feel like a threat to your ability to care effectively. But here's the beautiful paradox. When you allow for uncertainty in your own emotional landscape, when you release the need to label and control every inner feeling, and when you trust your innate capacity to navigate the unknown, you cultivate profound self-trust and an unwavering inner poise. This deep internal stability then translates into a more kind, more steady, and more authentically present external demeanor. Embracing uncertainty cultivates profound mindfulness. Instead of clinging desperately to the illusion of control or dwelling endlessly on past mistakes, you learn to savor each precious moment, finding deep joy and profound fulfillment in the journey itself, in the unfolding present. This mindfulness allows your sweetness to be responsive rather than reactive, arising from genuine presence rather than anxious attempts to manage everyone's experience. Think of the great innovators and artists throughout history who embraced uncertainty as a creative force. They understood that the most beautiful discoveries happen in the space between knowing and not knowing, in the willingness to explore without guarantees. Your sweetness, too, can benefit from this creative uncertainty, allowing you to discover new ways of caring that are perfectly suited to each unique situation, rather than applying the same familiar responses to every challenge. As we conclude this foundational exploration of discovering your inner sweetness, recognize the profound courage it takes to embrace all aspects of yourself, your tenderness and your strength, your certainty and your questions, your capacity to give and your need to receive. You are not discovering sweetness as something separate from who you already are. You are uncovering the authentic sweetness that has always been present, waiting patiently beneath the layers of cultural conditioning and self-protection. This sweetness is not a liability in a complex world, but your greatest asset for creating the kind of life and relationships that truly nourish your soul. When you learn to express this sweetness with the openness, flexibility, and wisdom we've explored, you become a source of healing and hope, not just for others, but for yourself. You demonstrate that it's possible to remain tender without becoming fragile, to stay open without becoming naive, to care deeply without becoming depleted. The journey ahead will build upon this foundation, helping you develop the practical skills to maintain your natural warmth while navigating life's complexities with grace and effectiveness. You'll discover how to care for yourself so thoroughly that caring for others becomes sustainable rather than exhausting. How to build relationships based on mutual respect and authentic connection rather than people-pleasing or self-sacrifice. Most importantly, you'll come to understand that your sweetness is not separate from your strength, but is actually its highest expression. When you can remain kind in the face of cruelty, patient in the face of frustration, and hopeful in the face of disappointment, you demonstrate a form of courage that has the power to transform not just your own life, but every life you touch. This is the sweet revolution, the mature understanding that approaching life with authentic warmth and wisdom creates possibilities that cynicism and hardness never could.